Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page where I do my live stream show, The Spiritual Roundtable. And welcome. Today is Tuesday, June 11th. I have to say, it's kind of cold and rainy here today in Tomah, Wisconsin. Broadcasting from the Star Nations Academy here in Tomah. It's cold and it's rainy. Yeah. I guess we do need the rain. It's been a while since it really rained here, so I'm trying not to complain too much because it could be snow, right? When you live in Wisconsin, especially in the late spring, early summer, it's been known to snow in May. And so, yeah, don't cross your fingers. It's only rain. Okay, so today's Tuesday, and Tuesdays are always very busy here at Star Nations. Always, and especially the second Tuesday. We had already two shows today, two live stream shows. From Star to Stone with Mervyn Kelly was this morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and Polly Jo had her show at noon Eastern Time, Chakra Sessions. And if you weren't in the live show for either one of those, my suggestion is that you catch the replay, the archived video recorded, because both shows are really pretty good. And you know what? In some ways, the message was basically the same. It was a very interesting conversation in both of them. I enjoyed both shows. And this particular show, the Spiritual Roundtable, is the third show, live stream show for today. And this evening, the fourth one will be coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's my evening show, my weekly show. Called Communications from Home. So it's a busy day. Before we get going on the card meaning for the draw today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share and like the live stream. And I invite you to do the same, even if you're watching the show by the recorded video. If you find the information helpful in any way, sharing, no matter whether it's this show or another post or another video, anything that we find helpful on our spiritual experience here is, sharing it really could help someone else. So I am going to share mine over to my news feed so that my friends are reminded that I am live streaming. And so I'll just let them know. And then asking them to join me. In the live chat. There we go. And I think I'll put in an emoticon on this one too. There we go. There. Got to turn down my sound on my phone so we don't get all squelchy on it. And there. There we go. Hey, it looks like somebody's in the chat. I think it's Julie Shumway Hill. Hang on. Can't get it to scroll. I'm wondering if we get something going on with the studio. Could be. So I guess I'm going to have to use my phone for some of that. Julie's here, I know. Oh, there you are, Julie. I knew you'd pop in eventually into the studio. Here we go. Julie is here. Julie happens also to be Star Nations Academy manager. And so she helps me with the classes that we offer through the Academy. And we've got one coming up this weekend with Polly Jo, Awakening to Your True Potential. And so we start on Friday night. So Julie's going to be up here. We're going to be teaching right from here. And Polly Jo's flying in on Thursday night. I get to go pick her up at the airport. She's flying in from Massachusetts. And so it's going to be a healing kind of weekend. And it's going to be fun. But it's also going to be it's going to be a working weekend too. Yeah. We're going to be doing some healing work. Too busy liking and sharing. Forgot to say hello. It's okay. Thank you for liking and sharing, Julie. Appreciate it. Oh my goodness. So today's card draw. It's a very interesting one because we only have one card today. Sometimes we have like 2, 3, sometimes even 4 cards. And it's kind of hard to get through all of them, all of the same, when we have so many. But today we only have one. And we are doing a different card deck this month. We just switched over just a couple of days ago. And the deck that we're using is Spirit of the Wheel meditation cards. And it's by Linda Iwashina. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Illustrated by Jody Bergsman. Yeah. Copyrighted 2006. And Jody is actually both ladies are from the northwestern part. We call it the Northwest here in the United States, but they're actually from British Columbia. So for Canada, that would probably be the Southwest, wouldn't it? Part of their country, British Columbia. It's just on the other side of Oregon. So yeah, and this is the front of the card deck. So it's all about the spirit of the wheel is all about the medicine wheel, and it's a variation of it. There's one medicine wheel, but there are many interpretations of the medicine wheel. Here in the United States, we have 568 federally recognized tribal nations, Native American nations, but there's many, many more than that. Those are the ones that are recognized by the federal government. In other words, we fit a criteria, right? But there's many more that are not federally recognized, and that's just in the United States. When you include Canada and Mexico, for the North American continent, we're talking thousands and thousands of sovereign nations on this continent, and so British Columbia, has several nations, Indigenous people. In Canada, they use different language to describe Native people. Indigenous and also First Nations are the terms that are used out of Canada. And some of us have actually started adopting using those words, those phrases, here in the United States, rather than Native American or American Indian. I get that question a lot. Which do you prefer? Which is the correct word? Phrase. And I used to say Native American, except that when you stop and really think about it, anybody born here in the United States is native to this land. And so it doesn't quite describe the first people that were here on this continent. And so I lean more toward Indigenous or First Nations because I think that's a better description, right? Yeah. So anyway, there's so many, and there's only one medicine wheel, but each nation interprets or describes the wheel sometimes vastly differently, and others are slightly different, right? And sometimes even within one nation, let's say the Potawatomi, who I'm enrolled with, have a way of seeing and sensing the medicine wheel, and then even within each clan that make up the Potawatomi may have a slight variation. So there's not just one way of interpreting the medicine wheel. And I kind of like that because it really kind of opens up and it's very expansive. Yeah. All right. So we're using the Spirit of the Wheel meditation deck. And the first card, the only card that we have today, is the medicine wheel. The medicine wheel. And the medicine wheel is all about oneness, inner growth, and contemplation, right? And so I'm going to hold it just a little bit closer so you can see the artwork. Get my camera to focus. There we go. That's a little bit better. And so we have, you can see animals that represent each of the directions. And sometimes that's one of the variations, is what animal is representing the cardinal directions and the colors and that sort of thing. Yeah. Oneness, inner growth, and contemplation. And the number on this is 0. And the numbers are about the placement within the medicine wheel. And so this particular card, this is helping us to understand what the medicine wheel is all about. Right? I love that artwork. You see the wolf down at the bottom, along with the depiction of the medicine wheel. What's interesting, I think, of this is that if you take a look at the wheel itself, which is right in the middle of the animals, right? So in the east, we have the eagle. In the south, they have the wolf there. In the west, they have bear. And in the north, it looks like maybe pronghorn antelope, possibly. Deer. Okay. And remember, this is a variation from an indigenous nation coming out of British Columbia. And in the center is where the creator resides. And then this particular depiction of it is Kokopelli is in the center. And in what's known as the crosswinds, not at the cardinal directions, not at the east, south, west, and north, but in the quarters, you can see the energy kind of coming in on the swirl in the corners, right? About right there. And in this particular artwork, you can sense kind of a movement, right? Possibly of the wind, the energy that's coming through. And it's not a straight line, is it? They're coming in a spiral fashion. The cardinal points come in as a straight line, but the crosswinds, they come in a swirl. Yeah, and the study and the lifestyle that I have with the medicine wheel, and we call those the crosswinds, is where you find the solstices and the equinoxes. And so about a month before we actually experience the equinox or the solstice, we start feeling the changing of the energy. Yeah, because we're changing seasons, right? And those crosswinds, sometimes people feel uncomfortable with it, right? Yeah, sometimes they. My husband knows that I'm doing a show at 2:00, and he's sending me texts. I don't know. Kind of diverted my attention there for a minute. So those crosswords can kind of be uncomfortable for some people. As the energy comes in that swirl, right? What it kind of reminds me of sometimes is turbulence. When you're in an airplane and you can feel the wind and it's that turbulent. Yeah, it's kind of like that for some people. For some people, it's not this gentle breeze of coming in to the medicine wheel. It is more of a turbulent feeling to it. And it carries with it change. And I think that's why it feels turbulent. Yeah. Those crosswinds. And the cardinal directions, the east, south, west, and north, they carry its own medicine. And sometimes they also bring in that duality. Right. And actually, so does the crosswinds. It also brings in that kind of duality because we have the male-female energy, right? But all of that energy from the cardinal directions and from the crosswinds, they all head to the center of the medicine wheel. And that's where the creator resides. And in this particular depiction, see if we can get it to depiction is Kokopelli. So all of the energy from all of the directions head toward the center. They head toward the one. And that's where we get the oneness from. So they all move into the center, swirling and moving in that straight line to the center. And then that energy from all those directions then swirls out of the center as well. So it comes in and it goes out. And when it comes into the center, and where the word oneness comes into play. And also the inner growth and the contemplation, because in the center is actually very quiet and still. Quiet and still. It's a place to go to be able to do your meditations, your contemplation, your prayers. And the center is a place that we can take respite. In the medicine wheel interpretation that I have is that the energy of the East moves west, right? And in that movement west is our life lessons. And so we jokingly call that the black and blue road. Depending on what variation of the wheel that you are studying or that you're living by, sometimes that road is called the black road, and sometimes it's called the blue road. We're spirits traveling through the physical world. And we're here to learn many, many things and to have soul growth. We're also here to learn about balance. And in the East is the energy. It's a male energy, and it's extroverted, and it is also about mental thoughts. It's a spirit of air. Okay. And so as we start our journey in the East, and we're heading west and learning all of our life lessons along that path, we're heading from our head to our heart. Because in the West is where the element of water is. And it's about our emotions. Right? It's where the sun sets, and it has more of a female energy to it. And so as we're traveling, living our lives, we're heading west, and we're learning how to, we're learning about ourselves. We're learning about how to balance our head and our heart. Right? And sometimes that's kind of difficult. We have a lot of challenges along that path. And sometimes it is, you can feel those turbulence of the crosswinds. We'll show that again. So the crosswinds are, as the energy comes into the center, you can kind of sense and feel the swirling of it. And so we tend to feel the ripple of that changing of the seasons. Right? When we get tired, when we get tired and we're maybe having an emotional meltdown, or maybe we're having that panic attack, or something like that, or experiencing some other sort of crisis. And we think, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. This was me on Saturday. Actually, Sunday too. On the medicine wheel, we can head to the center where the Creator resides, and we can get some respite. It's calmer there. It's quiet there. It gives us space to be able to sense, to feel, to slow down, to think through something, or to feel through something, right? That event that's happening. So it's a place to be able to rest. Hey, Valerie's here too. Hello, Valerie. Good to have you here. It's always good to see you in the chat. And so, the author, Linda, she has this information that I thought would be very interesting to share. So I'm just going to read it to you. She is explaining her perspective of the medicine wheel. So she says, put all other areas of your life on hold and journey to the center of the wheel. Here you will find the sacred space to become one with the Creator and pray for the guidance and healing you need. This is a time of quiet contemplation and inner growth. Rest your body, mind, and spirit, and gather up the energy needed to move on to the next stage upon the wheel. Being at the center of the wheel offers a higher perspective on where you've been and the direction that you're heading in. It may come in a form of a phrase in a book, a cloud formation, or even a conversation with a stranger. Use this time wisely and remember to pray not only for your own path, but for all of Great Spirit's creations. For if our prayers carry the highest intentions, when the timing is right, we will be given the opportunity to move forward once again. Okay, so, she's saying that that this is a place, the medicine wheel itself is a place to be able to help you understand your life, right? I call it an energetic map because it's filled with energy. It's kind of like, for those who studied feng shui, it's kind of like the bagua in a way, because the center of any home is where you have your best health, your optimal health is in the center. It's where we're connected to spirit, right? Yeah. And I think it's interesting that they use Kokopelli in the center. And for those of you who have been watching this particular live stream since the beginning, back in May of 2018. 2018. I've been doing this every afternoon practically for a year. And so many of you have joined me here and know that we have, in one deck, is a card for Kokopelli. And I think it's a Sacred Path cards, if I remember right. Has Kokopelli. And so we kind of know who Kokopelli is. Kokopelli is what some might call a demigod. He had a physical life. His mother was human, and his father was a supernatural being. And so he was left with his mother to be raised. And so he had a physical life. When he became more mature, is when we started hearing a lot about Kokopelli, because he stepped into his true potential, right? And that is of a demigod, and using all of his gifts in that way. And so one of the things that he is about creation, manifestation. He also brings rain to the Southwest. He's a very big energy. Yeah, Coco Pelli. And you can see that in the center where he's at, it looks, you see that line coming in? He's actually playing his flute. And it looks like he's drawing in energy from that crossed wind. So he's drawing in the energy. And when we head to the center, we become a part of the Creator. We remember our connection to the Creator and to the oneness of it. Now, the author does have a prayer that's she shares a prayer with us for every card. And so here's the prayer for this particular card. It says, "Here at the center of the wheel, I look to you, Great Spirit, to help me better understand my place in this life, to learn to see how I fit into the fabric of creation, and to honor your gifts by sharing them with others." Okay. So many of us connect with the medicine wheel in a physical sense. Many times we see the medicine wheel laid out in a circle with stones, right? So we have a physical depiction of it, of the energy of the medicine wheel. And we'll show the direct cardinal directions, the east, south, north, and west. And you see that, as an X or as a cross, or some people, that's how they interpret that, right? And let's see, I was going to bring up this picture. So this is the circles, they all have numbers in them, and this is coming from the book that goes along with these cards. And so this is the layout of the medicine wheel that this particular author uses, right? And so you can see the direct directions of the east, south, west, and north. They're straight lines, right? And so depending on how you look at it, it looks like a T, it looks like an X, it looks like a cross. It all depends on how you bring in that information through your own belief systems and through your own remembering of the energy of the medicine wheel, right? Because every indigenous nation across the world has some sort of circle, the circle of life. It's also called the sacred hoop. Yeah. And so there's some people who interpret it as the wheel as a part of outside of themselves, that it's over there. I remember when I had an aha moment a few years ago. I was thinking about the medicine wheel. I was thinking about how the winds come in, right? And the light bulb moment is that the wheel is always with me. I'm always the center of my wheel. And so because we are spirit, right? Because we're spirit. And so in order to understand this physical life and how our movement is within this physical life, the medicine wheel as an energetic map or template helps us put a framework around our experience so that our mental mind has something to apply logic to, right? Yeah, but it's our intuition, it's our spirit, it's our emotions that we use to remember what it feels like, right? Yeah. And so in this picture, you can see how with the layout, it's a circle, and within each circle, within the circle, the stones that make up the circle represent a certain energy, right? So the medicine wheel can help us to understand aspects of our life. When we move, like I was explaining before, as we move from the east to the west, that particular line is our earth life. It's our life lessons. It's how we balance our head and our heart. We're moving from the east, our mental thoughts, to the west, which is our emotions, our heart. And we remember how to balance that, right? To balance out that duality. And so when we're in the center of it, center of the wheel, there is no duality. It's all in the oneness. Yeah. And the road that goes from south to the north, many of you might recognize that one as the good road, the red road. You might hear it be called the good red road. Yeah. And that is our journey from, it's about our physicalness. Okay. It's taking all of that experience that we learned on the east-west road, the black or blue road. And we take that wisdom that we gained and we go to our community. So we're traveling in the south to the north, which is our community. And so all along the path, we get to be in service to others, using our gifts, using our wisdom, our talents, our education. That's the red road. And so many times here at Star Nations, when I'm working with the contributing writers and to the magazine and to the live stream show hosts, I'm thankful to them and I'm grateful to them for sharing their life with us, right? Their experience with us, their wisdom with us. And literally, we're walking the red road together. That's what I tell them. Using our wisdom that we've gained and taking it to our community. Yeah. It's a good one. I like this piece. So here's the prayer that the author uses with this particular card. She says, "Here at the center of the wheel, I look to you, Great Spirit, to help me better understand my place in this life, to learn to see how I fit into the fabric of the creation, and to honor your gifts by sharing them with others." Yeah. So, if you're, this is, I think, could be one of the reasons why many non-Indigenous people, non-Native people are attracted to Native American beliefs, the Native American way of life. Sometimes it's kind of like a stereotype, or you look at it as an ideal. But it's that this is the basic foundation of how to view your life is through the medicine wheel. But I have to tell you, not all Native Americans either believe in the medicine wheel or know anything about the medicine wheel. Yeah, that would be a misnomer to think that all Native Americans, can sit down and talk to you about the medicine wheel. Many of us can, but there's many that didn't grow up in the traditions, didn't, they may not have even grown up with their Native American relatives. Yeah. And you don't know how many times I'm teaching classes or I'm speaking someplace, and many people will come up to me, several people sometimes will come up to me and tell me their story. And they know that they have a Native American parent, but they didn't grow up with their parents' relatives. that they don't even know them. And so they don't know that part of themselves. And so they're searching for it, right? And then others who are non-native, what they're searching for is that fundamental belief, right? That how we're connected to Grandmother Earth and how we're all interconnected, right? And they're searching for that. They're searching for it. Now, back in the day, and we're talking not too long ago, like 20 years, not many people here in the United States, anyway, really connected with their own indigenous roots to the continent of their people, right? And so they were searching for something, yearning, literally, in many cases, for that. And they found that connection through the Native American beliefs. Today, for instance, specifically for today, literally today, having Mervyn Kelly do his live stream show. And he is a modern day Druid. He's from England, right? He's indigenous to that continent. And so he searched for his connection, right? And he made the decision that Druidry was the place for him to do that. And so when it's fascinating conversations when Mervyn and I sit down to talk, because we can see the parallel and very similar ways of being between an indigenous person from the Great Britain continent, right, England, and here. And so, we find those similarities and we share about those. But there's also differences. But there's more similarities than there are differences. Yeah. Or when I sit down and I talk to somebody like Amantha Murphy, who is indigenous to the island of Ireland, right? The Emerald Isle, and sit down and have a conversation about women and indigenous medicine and that sort of thing. And so we're much more alike than we are different. And so we actually talk about our own individual wheels, the Native American medicine wheel and the Irish or the Celtic wheel, and also the wheels that the Druids or the Celtics within the Druids use. And so it's a commonality that brings us together, because the center is the center. The center is the creator, no matter how you interpret a wheel, whether it's the medicine wheel, we call it, or the sacred hoop, or the life wheel. The center is the center. The cardinal directions are the cardinal directions. Now, how we place the animals within the wheel or the colors within the wheel is left to interpretation. The bottom line is that we have a way of helping us to understand our physical life here, helping us to remember our connection to the Creator and to Grandmother Earth, right? So for those who are just joining us, this is the one and only card for today. It's called the Medicine Wheel, and it's about oneness, inner growth, and contemplation. And the depiction or the image here that they're using to explain the wheel is, I'm trying to get my camera to focus. Come on, camera. Yeah, that's a little blurry. In the center is Kokopelli. That's the divine image that they're using for the center of this wheel. Yeah. Just because it's interpreted differently than, let's say the wheel that I'm used to, which is coming from the Potawatomi and the Ojibwa, doesn't make it wrong. it just makes it different, and to be able to be open to listening or seeing another way of expressing the medicine wheel. Yeah. Hey, Tina's here. Hello, Tina. Good to have you here. And look, Maggie's here too. Hello, Maggie. Good to have you here. And so we're chatting about the medicine wheel. And here's a question for those in the chat: is how many of you have physically experienced a medicine wheel? Physically experienced. Because there's some places. I have a medicine wheel here on my property. It's large enough for you to be able to walk through. But they come in different sizes. They're huge, like that one, or the one that I think it's in Wyoming. That's even bigger, right? Or you can have small ones, tabletop, or you might have it as a hanging, like in a window or off your rear view mirror. I know that sometimes you can use dyed porcupine quill, flatten them out, and you can create a medicine wheel on the colors that way. Yeah. But even if you're not in the physical medicine wheel, okay. So where we get the use of the stones for the medicine wheel, because not all Native American nations here on Turtle Island use stones to depict the medicine wheel. Here in the east of the Mississippi, you might not ever find an actual stone medicine wheel. We used a lot of trees to create the medicine wheel, the life circle. They're called marker trees. And so, yeah. So it's not necessarily always stones to create the medicine wheel, the physical medicine wheel. The medicine wheel is, for me, is more of a feeling, and that's why I found the conversation during Mervin's show this morning very interesting, because they were talking about how to describe your connection to Grandmother Earth, or what you call Earth, right? A Grandmother Earth, Mother Earth, Gaia, and it was a good conversation between Mervin and Rob, really, about that. And I found it fascinating. I did, because for me, to describe the medicine wheel and to talk about it like we're doing today is really more about a mental process to help describe what it is. But in my use, the actual application of the medicine wheel has more to do with emotion and feeling. Yeah. And my spirit, right? Than it does the mental aspect of it. Yeah. Because it really is a lifestyle. It's not it's not just something out of a book. It really is a lifestyle. It's a way of being. Yeah. At least for me it is. Yeah. I'm just checking the chat here. Hang on. Because I know that we have a lot more people in the live chat than actually is chatting. Okay. I'm just going to say hello to a few people, okay? Marie. Hello, Marie. And hello, Jolene and Connie and Bobby and Rob and Peggy. Hello, guys. I hope you're enjoying the conversation, the information about the medicine wheel. And so when you read something about the medicine wheel, it's good to try to find out from what perspective is the wheel being described, offered to you, right? Is it from what tribal nation? There's a really good book. It's called Earth Medicine Wheel. Earth Medicine. It's over on my shelf over there. Earth Medicine by Kenneth Meadows, right? And I read that a long time ago, really a long time ago, probably a good 15, 20 years ago. And he's actually from the UK. He's from England. But when I read the book, I was like, wow, this is very interesting, very interesting. And I actually like his layout of the physical medicine wheel. So I read that and took it in and realized, that's where I came to the another aha moment is that it has more to do with the feeling. What does the spirit or the medicine of the East feel like? Yes, we can describe it in words, but what does it feel like? And so when I'm calling to the directions, I'm saying some words, but it really is my recognition of the feeling of the East when it comes to me, right? Because the energies are always here. It's not like they go away and they come back only when we turn our attention to them and call them. They're always here. When we call into the directions, it's really about connecting with them and being turning our focus to them, right? And asking them to come and to help with something, right? To be there with us. And so when you're calling to the directions and you turn to face that direction is to really kind of slow down and really turn your attention to what does it feel like? What does it feel like to have the spirit or the winds of the East to come to me? What does it really feel like? And sometimes you can actually bringing them through one of your clairs, okay? However you bring energy information in. And if you do see, if you're clear-sighted, clairvoyant, you might see the energy in a certain way coming to you, right? You might see color. You might see an animal. You might see something like that. And for you, that would be the spirit of the East. Yeah. For me, it's more like a feeling. I feel the wind. I feel like whether it comes in as a gentle breeze or sometimes it comes in like a very strong, strong wind, right? Yeah. So it's a feeling for me. Yeah. Hey, Jolene, say, hey, girl. Hey, Bobby. She says, good day, my dear. Yes, loving just listening while in the garden today. Oh, good for you. Getting your hands into Grandmother Earth. Tina says, I don't know anything about the medicine wheel, but I heard that in Wyoming one, it took a woman's group into the spirit world and something about time got lost in the time thingy. Really? Well, medicine wheels, they're human made, right? They're human made. And it's like creating an altar. It's like creating an altar. And so you are creating a vortex or a gateway, a doorway. That's why it's important to be able to connect to the spirit of the land. If you're going to create a medicine wheel, the spirit of the land to find out if your land guardians are willing to hold the medicine for that, to hold the space for it. Right? And if you don't connect with them and you make it anyway, chances are that you might find some challenges along your way. Of course, everything is about learning, so maybe that's your path. But there's an easier route, is just to connect with your land guardians and find out if they're willing to hold the space for it, the sacred space for that, right? Because what you are is you're creating a vortex, you're creating a doorway, a gateway. And so you want to have those in spirit to be able to help you to contain it, right? And so that you have the intention that only the highest good will be coming from and through the medicine wheel. Because here, I'll show the card again. Those cross winds that you're seeing, it looks, you can almost imagine the movement, right? In the swirling. And even the direct directions, the cardinal directions, their spirit, their medicine flows in toward the center as well. And so you have all the energies of all the directions heading toward the center. And as you go to the center yourself to meditate, to pray, just to be quiet, to get grounded, to feel the oneness. It's a good place to be when your physical body and your mental body gets tired of the duality of stuff, is to go there and just to be quiet and just to be, right? But when we do that, especially when we pray in the center, all the energy that goes to the center also comes out of the center. It's like a toric field, if you know what a toric field is. A toric field is, if you were looking down at it, it looks like a donut because the energy is flowing in from the top and up through the bottom, and so it creates this circle around you. And that is what a medicine wheel does. It connects heaven and earth, and so you have all this energy flowing in and flowing out. So you want to make sure that you have a good intention, a clear intention of what your medicine wheel is going to be used for, so you can build it in a good way. So if you have love flowing in and flowing out, yeah. And so you can always connect with your spiritual team and get guidance from them, right? You can connect to your ancestors who are on your spiritual team and specifically connect with them and ask them about their use of the energy, the medicine of the wheel. Not necessarily the physical wheel, but more about the spiritual part of the wheel. Yeah. Hey, Rochelle's here too. Hello, Neshi, she says. They just woke me up. Aw, very hard time going to Grand Rapids. Everything is going well. Get to go home tomorrow. Oh, good. Thursday, I'm going to get a full slab of barbecue ribs. You must be hungry. Thank you for all your concerns, prayers, and Reikis. You're welcome. You're welcome. We're wishing you well, Rochelle, on your convalescence from your healing from your knee replacement. Yeah. Using that turtle energy, right? Turtle medicine. So, the medicine wheel. Yeah, and Tina, I don't know if you heard the part that I talked about, that it's kind of a stereotype in a way. For some people, especially non-Native people, to think that all Native Americans know about the medicine wheel, the Native American medicine wheel. And that's not true. Yeah, because some of us didn't grow up with that in our culture, right? Didn't grow up with possibly our relatives. And so that wasn't a part of our world at the time, right? I was just thinking about a young lady who came to me one time. I was this was down near Madison, Wisconsin, Spring Green, which is about probably an hour southwest of Madison. And I was invited to go and to open the ceremony with my medicine dress, and so I did, and we were talking about the medicine wheel. Afterwards, she came up to me and she was explaining to me that she knew that she was part Ho-Chunk, that her dad was Ho-Chunk, but she didn't know her dad and she didn't know her dad's people. She grew up in Madison, and so she was curious about the Ho-Chunk people. And so I sat with her for a little bit, and we were talking, and because I had shared with her that my grandmother, my mom's mom, was full-blooded Ho-Chunk, and so she was asking me a bunch of questions about that, and she said that she always felt like she was missing something, that there was something there that she needed to find to feel whole. And she says, and I think that this is it. And I said, well, if you really feel that way, I said, you can take your information, your dad's name, and you can contact, and I gave her, the department over at Ho-Chunk Nation government, and let them know that your dad is a Ho-Chunk, and maybe he's a tribal member, maybe he's not. I said, but through the cultural program, and it's possible that they could help you to understand that part of you. Go to the language classes, because the language and the culture go hand in hand, hand in glove. And so, there's people that were searching, and she's just one of many, searching for where they belong. They feel like something's missing. And I think that when we talk about the medicine wheel, sometimes that's a part of it. That's a part of it, is to really to get to know yourself, right? To get to know you. And that kind of dovetailed with Polly Joe's show at noon, when she was talking about our bodies and spiritual connection and our intuition. Yeah. Is that getting to know yourself really well by knowing what it feels like to have a yes or no response when you're leaning into your intuition, right? And what does your body feel like with a yes, or what does your body feel like a no? And trusting your intuition. So that there is that piece in there that no matter where your people come from, whether it's this continent or the England continent, island, the Irish island, no matter where your people come from, it's good to remember that aspect of ourselves, so that we really get to know who this being is in this physical body, the spirit that's in this physical body, right? Because our body is definitely connected to Grandmother Earth. Our body comes from Earth. Our soul or our spirit comes from the Creator. That's why they call us the connection between heaven and earth. And let me tell you, when you're standing in the middle of a medicine wheel, and you're praying from your heart, you can certainly feel the support. You can feel that wholeness as you're standing in the center. Yeah. As you connect, where your spirit's connecting, your soul is connecting to all that is, which is the Creator, right? That oneness. So now I understand why we only got one card today. There's a lot to say about the medicine wheel. Yeah. I really like this artist's depictions, the cards so far, the artistry to them. Yeah. So we're almost at the top of the hour already. I wanted to share with you a little bit about the rest of the shows that are coming up this week. And I know it's here somewhere. Here it is. All right. So tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time is my weekly evening show, which is Communications from Home. And one of the show is all about the June issue of Star Nations magazine, the backstory, the things that went on in this particular creation of this issue. And we always have stories with every issue, let me tell you. This one went pretty smoothly, but we still have some issues. And sharing with you the article titles that appear on the cover, and the contributing writers behind those articles, right? And so we're going to be talking about the magazine tonight, which is kind of fun, a little storytelling going on. And that's tonight at 8 p.m. And on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time is Polly Jo LeBay's her evening show. It's a weekly show in the evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's Soul Connections. And Soul Connections is all about healing and divine messages. So the first thing that happens is a healing meditation for those of us who tend to put ourselves last on the list, and our self-care is to be able to make time for that. And Polly Jo creates the sacred space for that to occur. She and her team. And the second half of that show is all about the card draw, many readings that Polly Jo does for anybody who would like to have a card drawn for them. Yeah, it's always fun. I get to produce her show, so I get to be there no matter what. And on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time is Life Wisdom with Ed Langen. And Ed is going to be sharing about shifting your money energy. And who doesn't need a little bit of that, right? Shifting your money energy. He says, whatever you believe about money is what you are living. So he's going to be talking about what money really is and help you to start to shift your energy about money. How is he going to do that? Giving you some information, but he's also going to be doing some tapping, EFT. And so that kind of resets our synapses, our electrical body, right? About those things. And the second half of the show, he is going to be doing some channeling. He's going to connect with the ascended masters who work with him, and answering any life questions that you may have, whether it's about money or relationships or anything really. And remember, the more specific your question, the more specific the answer. If you ask a general question, you're going to get a general answer, right? All right, and I will get the link on where you can send your question if you'd like to send a question to Ed before the show. So he has, he'll connect with the guides for you and that sort of thing. Or you can ask it during the show too. Either way is good. So we'll get that into the comment section of this show as soon as the show is done. In fact, maybe I can do it now. Hang on. And see if this will copy over. Hold the phone, Joan. I'm going to try to get it into the comment. How to contact Ed Langen for his show. There we go. Let's see if this will work. Okay. I think it went. We'll have to see how. There it is. Okay, good. Oh, it's the wrong one. Rats. Don't use that link. It didn't copy. Rats. We're going to try that again. Hang on. And try it one more time, okay? That was the last thing that I copied. You know what? Technology is grand when it works. Okay. You're going to use this one because this one worked. Use the second one, not the first one. All right, there we go. All All right, so let's see. I'm going to get caught up with you guys in the chat room quick here. Julie says, I really like this message. I'm searching for the traditional from my ancestors. Feel like I know so little about it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good that you made the decision to look. That's really good. And Bobby is saying, bought my Earth Medicine by Kenneth Meadows in the 80s and have used it ever since. Yeah. And it's a nice energy to draw upon. Yes, it is. He's got a lot of good information in there. I actually use one of the medicine wheel diagrams that he has to create a medicine wheel. I like it a lot, and it works very well. Yeah. Okay. So with that, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and hopefully we'll see you back here for my evening show, Communications from Home. If not, hopefully tomorrow afternoon for this show, the Spiritual Roundtable. And remember, anything that you heard here, if it resonated with you, my suggestion is to embrace it and to watch, sense, feel, see how the energy is unfolding around you today and where this information could be helpful. Right. Okay. With that, we'll see you tomorrow. Bama Mina. That's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.